It's hard to get rich or wealthy if What's up, friends? Rob here, and I'm back with a brand new word for all of you today that I pray puts fresh wind in your sails and divinely inspires you to be the leader that I know that God has called all of you to be, and then also to pursue those God-sized dreams that He's put in your heart. Today, I want to give you 3 reasons why I believe many people never accumulate true wealth, never become rich in this life. Number 1, it's hard to become something that you hate or you despise. Let me explain. Many people, I used to be there myself, even subconsciously don't realize the hate, the shade, or the disdain they have for wealthy and rich people. Let me give you one quick example. How many of us, and I'm going to raise my hand because I used to be there as well, have said, they have a lot of money, but it's probably because they're doing something illegal, or they're doing something under the table, or they're doing something that maybe is compromising their integrity. Well, that may be true for some of the people that have wealth in our country and throughout the world. It doesn't mean that just because you have a desire to be rich or you have a desire to want to be wealthy, that you have to be that kind of person. But if you don't change that mindset and learn how to get rid of that internally, you'll never become something that you hate or you despise in your heart. Number 2, and I believe this is a big one. Many of you watching this today, and once again, I'm raising my hand because I used to be there, and this is something that I have to fight against even in my own life in this season, is that many of us don't believe we deserve to be wealthy. For me, one of my greatest challenges is I grew up with a single mom. We grew up on welfare. We, got our lights cut off frequently. We got clothes donated to us. We were the poor family in the church that people would give to. And so my whole life as a child, I grew up believing that riches and wealth was not for someone like me or my family, because we didn't come from a good lineage. We didn't come from a good education. So even deep down in my heart, I didn't want to be poor, and I wanted to have wealth, and I wanted to have riches and prosperity. I would ultimately sabotage myself because I felt like I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't worth it, or I didn't deserve to have that in my life. And I just want to say this in this moment, that if that is you today, the best way to overcome that in your life, in my opinion, as a Christian entrepreneur, is to understand this, that you have a divine creator who made you in his image, which means you have intrinsic value, you have intrinsic worth, that so loves you, that fully loves and fully accepts you, and that he says that everything of his is yours if you're in relationship with his son, Jesus. I want you to let that sink in just for a second, because I promise you that when you begin to cultivate that mindset, it will kick that imposter syndrome out, and you'll begin to understand that God is for you and wants to bless you greatly. And number 3, and I believe one that is often overlooked, is it's one thing to learn a skill set. It's one thing to learn the strategies and the tactics to generate wealth, but it's another to expand your capacity and to grow yourself internally. One of my favorite motivators and speakers and authors is a guy by the name of Ed Milet. And Ed talks about this internal thermostat that we all have in our lives, that we may generate wealth. We may be able to develop and cultivate the strategies to make sales and to have riches. But if we never work on the internal thermostat and become that person that matches that wealth, then ultimately we will lose it, because we sacrifice the doing on the altar of being. In other words, it's not just becoming a person who can generate and attract wealth, but it's becoming the person that can handle the wealth. Every successful person that I've studied says it in a different way, but here's just the short version, that money is a magnifier. If we're not careful and work on becoming something internally and growing that character and that capacity, when we are blessed with wealth and riches, it will only magnify that ugly, if you will, that is in our heart. If we are to desire riches and wealth and prosperity and success, which are not bad things in themselves, we must understand that everything that we have or accumulate is not ours. It's God's. And that whatever God entrusts us with here on this planet, we must ultimately become people that say, just don't bless me, God, for the sake of blessing me with a whole bunch of stuff, but bless me in such a way that I can be a bigger blessing to other people. But first and foremost, bless me in such a way that you get all the credit for it. And let me be a good steward. Let me be a good manager of what you've entrusted me with. And give me the power to not let the stuff get a hold of me, but give me the strength and the power to always chase you, the giver of the stuff, the giver of the wealth, the giver of the riches. Well, friends, I pray that this has put fresh wind in your sails today. Please like, comment, subscribe below, turn on the notifications. That way you're notified every time we drop fresh content like this. God bless you guys. Make it an awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon.